All right, so we are starting our next session, and it will be dedicated to CDN bidding negotiations. What is bidding and what are we going to negotiate about? What is negotiations and what is there to peer about? So this is the question. Yes. All right, so who is going to present during the session? So before we start, and before I announce all the members of the panel and presenters, I would like to ask you, dear friends, yesterday, once you enter the room or the big hall, the second table there were our Azerbaijani colleagues sitting at that table. Is there anybody from Azerbaijan here in the room? No? All right, so no was a no. They left the camera. If somebody saw the camera there, or a camera, could you please find them and give it to them or let them know where you saw it? Thank you. And now I would like to ask Elena, oh no, Nihit Tandon. Nihit Tandon, are you ready?
Я. Fantastic. So, давайте ее
Okay, let's connect her. Netflix. Let's give a big round of applause to a representative from Netflix. Who is watching Netflix? Who is watching Netflix? Good, good for you. You also do it. You also do it. What do you watch? We're not going to tell you. You're not going to tell me. Ah, that's what I suspected. How about women? They're going to keep it a secret. Good. Not good. But anyway, is he with us? Nihit Tandon? So I'm the moderator. I am the moderator calling on to Nihit Tandon. Nihit, are you here? Are you with us? He is with us. Nihit, the floor is yours. You can start with your presentation and tell us how Netflix works in terms of CDN and what we need to have CDN in this region. And could you please also share your contact information so that people could get a hold of you and get in touch with you? And so that you can discuss directly with them what people need. Thank you very much, my friend.
Неправильно переводит. Thank you, my friend.
What's wrong with the interpretation? Is she not interpreting correctly? Thank you, my friend.
Hello, everyone. I hope I am audible. Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Nihit Tandon. I am from Netflix Interconnection team. I am based out of India in Mumbai, and I handle countries like India and other countries of South Asia and Central Asia from an interconnection standpoint. So in my today's presentation, I'll walk you through about the Netflix content delivery network. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to present here virtually. And from next time onwards, we'll definitely plan out and be there on a face-to-face basis as well. So let me share my screen. I hope my presentation is visible. Okay. So in our today's presentation, we'll talk about Netflix content delivery network, how we are delivering great stories to our members worldwide. Okay. So as a user of any streaming service, this question keeps coming in mind: what makes a good streaming experience on a service? A service which starts quickly, which has high quality from a streaming perspective, and it is a stable quality, and as well as there are no rebuffers or interruptions while you are watching the content. So not only this, but a service should work on different network conditions and on different devices. So whether you are watching the content on a 3G network or on a broadband network or on any of the device, whether you are watching it on a high-end smart TV or a low-cost smartphone or a tablet or an iPad, the streaming should work in a seamless manner. The member should able to watch the content anytime, anywhere, and in any device, right? So in order to reach to these goals, let's talk about what are the building blocks of the Netflix experience. So in terms of the building blocks, of course, first thing is about producing the content, great content. So once the great content is produced, it is to be compressed or encoded in the different formats so that the content starts streaming seamlessly on different devices. Once the content is encoded, then it is to be pushed onto the internet, onto the content delivery network. And once the content is deployed onto the content delivery network, which is called as the caching servers, that's when the user clicks on the play button. That's when the content starts streaming, whether they are watching it on their mobile, on their laptop, or on their smart TV. That's where how we should adapt based on the video quality, based on the variable network conditions. Of course, I'm an engineer, not a producer. So in our today's presentation, we'll cover about the encoding and the deployment and the streaming pipelines. And we continually optimize these pipelines so that we can improve the user experience. So let's talk about encoding. So earlier, when streaming started, we were streaming in a single bit rate, which means all the content was encoded in the same bit rate of 1000 kbps way back in 2011, and then later on in 2015, with innovation, as the innovation started happening in encoding technologies, we started doing per title based encoding, which means if you are watching a kids content, it will be encoded in a different way. If you are watching an action-oriented content, it is encoded in a different way. So the bit rates were ranging from 640 kbps to 1000 kbps. And nowadays we are using per shot based encoding, which is also called as dynamic optimization, wherein the streaming happens as low as 250 kbps to many mbps. So yes, the encoding plays a major role in which how the content is streamed on different devices as well as on variable network conditions. Apart from encoding, the next one is from a deployment perspective. So in terms of deployment, Netflix started the Open Connect program way back in 2011. This is our program wherein in which we partner with ISPs globally through our Open Connect program. And this is a CDN infrastructure which is for the delivery of Netflix shows, series, and films, so that we can able to provide a good quality streaming experience to our mutual customers. How do we do that? We provide the caching servers which are called as Open Connect appliances. And so these appliances we provide to our ISP partners free of charge. So based on based on the traffic volumes on different ISPs and different sites, we provide these appliances. We do the appliance sizing. So we have two appliances. For example, the base appliance, we call it as global appliance. And in a global appliance, it can give us a throughput of around 20 gigs. In a single 2U, it is 2U in size. And the next appliance is a storage appliance, in which we can get a throughput of as high as 100 gigs. So based on the site, how much is the traffic, accordingly we do this appliance sizing. Apart from that, we have our backbone infrastructure through which we push the content globally at our different POPs. So when and from these POPs, the ISPs, they connect with us through peerings. In terms of deployment models, we have two types of deployment models. One is at our POPs, or as or we call it as IX sites. These are internet exchange sites where ISPs do exchange traffic over peering. And second one is if related to deployment of caching servers, which are our Open Connect appliances. So based on the different requirement types, ISPs prefer to exchange traffic over peering, or they prefer to deploy caching. From a caching perspective, the offload, so once you deploy a caching servers in your network, the offload comes around as high as 90 to 95%. And this is because most of the content which is stored is it's video on demand, right? It is a static content, so that helps to bring as high as 90% of throughput. From a routing perspective, we have two different AS numbers. One is 2906, which is used for peering, and for caching, our AS number is 40027. We use BGP best path algorithm in our CDN infrastructure to decide which is the best path to serve the traffic. For example, the prefixes are available. The prefixes are available at different paths, right? And based on the BGP best path algorithm, we decide which is the nearest location from where the traffic should be served. And this is based on the following criteria. One is longest prefix. Let's say if a /24 is announced at different locations, one is via transit, other is via peering, and third one is via caching. Then whichever a /24 will be preferred first, then a /22, or if it is a shortest, based on the shortest AS path or the lowest med. If there is a tie on all these three, then the last one comes as the closest geolocation. So yeah, here at Netflix, we produce a lot of content of different genre. So based on our members' choices, they watch the content as per their preference, right? So there is so much of content which is available, but in our case, it is still finite because there is no user-generated content which is available on our service. It is mostly in the films and the series which we release. So which is very advantageous in terms of getting the higher offloads from the caching servers. How do we do that? Let's take a look at. So what makes up a title? A title comprises of different video tracks, audio tracks, and the subtitles. And the video tracks are encoded in different resolutions and in different formats. And similarly, the case for audio tracks and subtitles. So all these comprises of different files which are stored onto these caching servers or the Open Connect appliances. So when the user clicks on the play button on their devices, based on the BGP best path algorithm, the nearest appliance gets selected to serve the content to the users on their devices. So how do we do that? We also have something called as content popularity. So unlike any other CDN, which are basically a demand-based CDN, here we do proactive caching of the content. We predict the content based on the content popularity. So let's say if we are releasing a show like Crown, for example. So when we are releasing the show Crown based on the historical viewing patterns, we will see, okay, how much popular this content is going to be, or also based on how heavily we are doing marketing of these titles, and also based on our internal and external forecast which comes up. So all these inputs helps us to predict the popularity of the content, and based on the popularity, we cache the content onto the servers in advance. And usually this is done during the off-peak hours. So when the content is launched on the service, it should be available onto the servers which our ISP partners have installed in their network, such that when the content gets launched, when they start playing on their favorite devices, it is served from the nearest location. This is about the deployment. Then comes our streaming pipeline. In terms of streaming, we use adaptive bitrate streaming. So how do we do that? Is the entire video is encoded in different chunks of different quality. One is a low quality, mid quality, and high quality, and all these are aggregated and created in a manifest file. And then based on the variable network conditions and the respective quality chunks get selected. So for example, if you are in a good network coverage area, then a segment which is of a higher quality will get selected, and accordingly it will be chosen based on how the network conditions are. It happens so many times that we are traveling in a metro or in a tunnel, or let's say if we are watching from our home. So adaptive bitrate streaming helps to adapt the video quality based on the variable network conditions. In terms of our peering information, our traffic profile is content. We have an open peering policy. Our AS number is 2906. Most of our information related to our internet exchange points is available in Peering DB. If you are interested in connecting with us, you can reach out to us via openconnect.netflix.com. There is a peering request through which you can raise your request if you are interested in deploying caching servers in your network. There is a link available on the website. So most of the information related to our Open Connect program is available on our website, openconnect.netflix.com. This is the view of the website where you will find most of the information related to hardware, related to if you have any FAQs related to once the servers are deployed, if you have any queries. So all that information is available in our website. And also, for example, the appliance request form, which I mentioned just now. So so once you will reach to openconnect.netflix.com website, this is where you can reach out for an appliance request. So you can fill all the details in this appliance request form. This one, yeah, this is the one. So as soon as you will click on that link, a request form will get opened where you can fill your details like AS number, network, and where you are looking for peering or caching. And accordingly, once this request is submitted, a ticket will get generated, and accordingly we will revert to you on that ticket. That's all I have for you for today. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and patiently listening to me. I hope I am clear enough in communicating the information related to my presentation. If you have any queries or questions, you can reach out to me. I'm not sure if we have time for any Q&As.
Great, Nihit.
Thank you.
Do you hear the applauses?
I'm sorry?
Do you hear how do we react to your presentation? Do you see that?
No, I couldn't see that. It was, for me, it was like a one-way.
Okay. So we do applause here, but I guess you should hear it.
Thank you so much for.
Thanks. Thanks, Nihit. So is there anybody that wants to host Netflix? Кто хочет хостить Netflix? Кто хочет поставить у себя Netflix, товарищи?
Who wants to host Netflix? Come on, guys. Who wants to host Netflix? So if then you can ask questions if you want to host. You can do in Russian. Question? Use the microphone. Come on, come here. Ask the question.
We have several questions.
Oh, wherever the microphone is. You can ask in Russian. We have translation.
Раз, два.
Okay.
Раз, два, три.
Good day. Could you please list us the requirements for hosting? What is the minimum traffic volume for your systems for hosting Netflix?
Представьтесь, пожалуйста, еще.
Can you please introduce yourself, Sergey Mazurov, PGIX, Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan? Did you hear the question?
This is the internet exchange from Kyrgyzstan.
Okay.
Are there any requirements to put your CDN at IX or any other place?
Yeah, so we have, so we deploy the similar appliances at IX sites as well. And based on the ASNs which are connected, based on the traffic, we do the analysis and accordingly decide on the deployment. And if you are interested in deploying servers in your IX as well, the process is the same. The links which I just shared with you, you can raise a ticket with us. We can estimate the traffic volumes and accordingly we can proceed.
Sorry. Nihit, so we have, I guess, the problem with translation. You should just switch it on to hear the translation. Okay.
Can you hear it?
So when they talk in Russian, there is a translation, and you can hear this translation. Okay, the next question. Следующий вопрос, товарищи.
Все, that's all. Thank you.
Товарищ удовлетворен.
Да, можно еще спросить?
Okay, another question. Kazakhstan. Where are you from? Net сеть Kazakhstan. It's from Kazakhstan. Do you have any legal requirements we have to comply with, like the operator, or additional agreements signed or agreements in place to be signed with your company? Are there any limitations in terms of regulatory limitations in working with you?
So yes, when we start the process, first we analyze the traffic related, and then we provide Open Connect hardware transfer agreements, which we share with our partners for the signatures, and accordingly we proceed.
Такие есть. Прекрасно. Другие вопросы?
Excellent. Any other questions?
Вопросов у нас нету, но у меня
No more question, but I do have a question.
Скажите, пожалуйста.
Can you please tell us,
Ну, например, если у вас стоят
if you have several CDNs at different operators, is there any prioritization on traffic? For example, if XP, you prioritize XP, or all of them will be synchronized with your server in the States. So do you prioritize them, or they have the equal, or is there synchronization within the country? Is there a mechanism which allows you to synchronize between your CDNs, or are there any preferences assigned to them? Or all of them are pings during different channels? How does it work?
Okay, so there is no prioritization as such with respect to different CDNs or different appliances which are hosted. It is the entire control of serving the traffic lies with ISPs based on how they are announcing the routes or prefixes towards the server. And in terms of the content fill happens during the off-peak hours for all the appliances. So the off-peak hours usually starts from 12 a.m. in the midnight, and it is a 12-hour window, and that is when the off-peak happens. So there is no prioritization as such. Then the complete control of serving the traffic, how the prefix announcements are happening, lies with ISPs.
Окей, спасибо большое еще раз, аплодисменты
Thank you
вам.
very much for let's give him a hand. Thank you very much.
Еще вопрос?
And more questions. Wait, don't go away. There is another question. Don't go away.
Не, включите микрофон.
Turn on the mic, please. Good day. BT.com, Astana, Kazakhstan. Can you please tell us what is the minimum input to turn on CDN, to switch to CDN? There is no threshold. What is the threshold? It can be sure for Google it's 3 GB, for Facebook 5 GB, for VK, for Netflix. Do you have this threshold? Minimum threshold.
Yeah, the minimum threshold is 1 gigs.
Один, совсем один.
Второй вопрос.
Second question. According to which I analyzed Google Cache traffic, it accepts traffic in accordance to the maximum active content. So how does it work with you?
So in our case, it is based on how you are announcing the prefixes towards the servers, and based on the BGP best path algorithm, the respective appliance will be selected to serve the traffic.
Нет, вы, наверное, немножко неправильно поняли. Смотрите.
Well, just to be specific, for example, you have a content, right? So which you give to the client, for example, video clips or series or movies, things like this. In Google Cache, there is a certain, procedure works. There is popular content and non-popular content. But Google Cache is filled with the popular content, which is assigned to a certain region. And the popular content is from overall the service. Is it the same thing? Do you feel like this, or you just specifically assigned it to the region? And if, for example, there is a client which requests non-popular service, will be rerouted to the external CDNs or directly to the states? Like if it's not popular content, how's it done?
Right. So as I mentioned in my presentation, we do predict the content popularity. So based on the content popularity, the content will be hosted onto the servers, and that is how. And since our case, it is a video on demand service, it is not a dynamic content which is hosted, or there is no user generated content on our service. That is why the throughput is quite high from a delivery perspective, because we predict the accuracy of predicting the content popularity is very high. Now, Netflix content is always delivered, is 100% delivered from Netflix CDN only. We do not use any third-party CDN, so where the content is served from. So in short, it is based on the content popularity. The content is cached or stored onto the servers proactively.
Спасибо.
Да, и еще спасибо. И
Thank you very much. And the last question from me, Nihit, whom should we send if we want to ask a question, or if you have suggestions or ideas to discuss or thoughts to discuss, whom should we contact? To you? Can we, or there is another person or another contact information you can provide us, so we can actually. So if you say contact me, there are about 250 people here. You might receive 250 letters a month. Will you be able to handle that?
Yeah, so related to any Open Connect, requirements, there is a link available on our website for appliance related requirements. You can so you can fill your details in that, and I will respond to you. And I have shared my email ID as well. So if you have any queries, also you can reach out to me.
Нет, смотри, дорогой, так дела не делаются в этом регионе.
Okay, so this is not how business is done, here. Well, request is, I understand. And what if nobody answers our request? What if we want to see you? What if we want to invite you to any of our events? No, 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 no. This is not how it works. Okay. So who should be invited to some events? Like who is this person we should invite from Netflix to participate in our events? For example, can they ask me and I will send a letter to you, or can they send a letter directly to you? Is it possible? Just like a person-to-person contact, just to sit down and discuss it. Can
Yeah,
we
so
write to you? Yeah,
yeah, so mostly for the events, we participate in events, how we are doing it today. I think this is happening for the first time in Central Asia. And I'm sure the events like this will happen. Some more events like this will continue to happen in Central Asia. And we'll definitely be there to attend physically as well, so that we can meet and have a discussion on that.
Хорошо,
Mm.
и тогда на самый последний вопрос я хочу услышать.
And the last question, I would like to hear a yes from you. Not no, but yes. I would like to say to hear yes from you. So next year we will have a Central Asian Peer Interconnection Forum, which will be in November next year. Looking into the eyes of these wonderful people, promise that you'll come. You have to give a promise.
Yeah, definitely. I would
Cross
love
your
to.
heart, you come.
Definitely, I would love to be there. This time also, I would have planned it, but it was just at the last minute we couldn't plan it out. But I would love to be there and meet everybody there in whichever part of Central Asia you plan to organize this conference.
Все, спасибо. У тебя год на размышление, на подготовку.
You have a year to prepare now. You're invited. Start packing your bags. Okay. Hello. Let's give him a hand again. Netflix.
Thank you so much. It was pleasure talking to you all.
Great. Dankeschön.
Have a good
Так,
day.
ребята, а вот Netflix получается...
Netflix is kind of far from us, but from the other side, it's here. It's here. It's just you can see here. It's there. You can see it everywhere. It's wonderful. But now we cannot just drink coffee with the Netflix representatives, unfortunately, because they're online, or drink something more strong. Not now, of course, later, after work. But now we have a person who is very close to us, who is sitting next to you. You can touch him, you can see him with your own eyes. And she's with us, Elena Yakupova. It's a contact. VK. Presentation, please. Can you hear me? Hello. My name is Elena Yakupova. I am a Deputy Technical Director. I am Deputy Technical Director of VK Contact. I am responsible for the network and server structure. First, let's talk about the company. Those of you who do not know what VK is the Mail.ru in the past. It's the biggest IT company, which portfolio has a lot of different products. The biggest one is social network, is Одноклассники, Mail.ru. Something is wrong. Something is not working. It's not working. Something is broken. Social networks, Mail.ru, Mail, and recent years we are directed for the educational products, which are quite demanding during pandemic. So pandemic actually sort of created this wonderful habit of online learning. It's a habit of learning something new through online different services. So our senders are Moscow, St. Petersburg. We have about 50,000 servers, 8 POPs with the countries, neighboring countries. So also 1,200 BGP sessions, and the peak traffic is more than 8 terabytes per second, the external traffic. And we're actively developing our CDN platforms. Currently, we have 66 points, mainly in Russia, but also we have big coverage in Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Belarus, Thailand, Netherlands, 1 point in Abkhazia. As for peering, we support open peering policy, although we have to understand that the type of interface is 10, and last time recently it's 100G. So if an operator has a small traffic with our resources, so we suggest to take it from exchange points. We present at all exchanges. You can see some of them, some of the big ones here. So Peter Rais was given a presentation today. We also are there to create a session with us, BGP session. You have to write fill in the form at netmail.ru, send a request, and you will get an answer, and will be suggested how to do it, and send the settings. Unfortunately, you can just meet with us only in Moscow and St. Petersburg, and these are two autonomous systems and different content. CDN platforms to install CDN use B2O at VK team. We have 2 of them, and I will tell you all about the differences. CDN. So we have 2 types of CDN VK. CDN, these are the points marked in orange, not very many of them. These are big platforms where we have our network infrastructure, a lot of servers, and we installed them in such places where operators of the whole region can connect to us. Ahead of time, we concur with operators, or it's big X, so to cover the users, clients from the whole region. The operators connected to us, so we agree that they will be providing free channel to our data centers to deliver data and service everything by ourselves. The second type of connection, VK ISP cache, when any operator without any limit on trafficking has a right to place cache at their location. Sometimes, from time to time, we provide servers ourselves. As a minimum, these are 2 servers, and we adjust them. We commission the software, and the users of the operators receive a popular contact through CDN. So this is how CDN works. At Cache, we they keep most popular content. If we talk about our projects for Cache, it's a video streaming. It's a big traffic because it loads the routes, and that is why the most popular content is kept at Cache. So in Cache, it's capacity has the maximum capacity with more disks. The more disks, the more servers, the more disks, the more data of video data we can store, and more traffic will be delivered from cache, but not uploaded from the place of origin. So that is why they have high storage capacity, and they work better. So operators can also content a lot of storage space, but the operators try to save on space, and as a minimum have 2 servers to keep the most popular content. The benefit from CDN is evaluated as saving on transit, on routing channels. This is the example of Kazakhstan cache, and the upper curve is the reflection of traffic to the networks, to prefixes which are served at CDN and total traffic. And at the bottom you can see traffic from cache. About 30% of traffic to the prefixes announced by the operator are taken from cache, delivered from cache. It's not a deep top. This is just different, normal settings. That's not a very big knot. It's just the operator's cache. So at the lower curve, you can see upload volume in percentage to our cache and how much is delivered to the clients. Second benefit from CDN is improving the quality of the service for the users of the network. Especially it is noticeable when operators have filled communication channels, because if they're full, then the videos are interrupted, nobody likes it, nobody wants to watch it. And movies and whatever, when it's always lagged.
Это особенно ощущается в странах СНГ, по крайней мере, это было так несколько лет назад, то что
You can particularly feel it at the CIS countries, at least several years ago. That was the case several years ago, an external connection. So this is a service that you can use heavy content in it. Of course, you can use it as a social network. You can send text messages, but watching streams would be problematic. That's why when you put the cache inside the country, traffic gets localized, at least for the popular content of a streaming. That's a great benefit. And the users can use this content easily. And that could contribute to an increase of the overall traffic in the country. If you get that goal, if you have that objective. This chart shows a cumulative traffic for all our services and CDNs in Europe. And here, remember I've said we give away 8 terabits, so we give 8.5 terabits or TB from cache TB. So we're improving these indicators year on year, and we caching more and more content on CDNs, and we provide it to storage, and we increase the depth of distribution. And we can also use CDN as proxies, but in the case of 100% proxying, the income channel for CDN should also be big, because traffic, the proportion of traffic would be 1 to 4, 1 to 2. And experiments like that were conducted several years ago. As for Central Asia, these are some curves for the current situation in terms of traffic for Central Asian countries. Kazakhstan stands out, and slightly less or significantly less Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan. This is an interesting picture. You can see examples of traffic here, and I also looked at the number of logins, for example, in these countries, and Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan. In terms of the number of users that daily use social media is pretty much the same, but in terms of traffic and volume of traffic, it's different. And I think it's explained by the fact that the internet is either expensive or the channels are the broadband is very narrow, which doesn't allow to upload photos, maybe music and video content. This is what comprises traffic. For Kazakhstan has very good traffic, and it's different in terms of the number of users, and Kazakhstan is different. It stands out from all the countries in Central Asia. On CDNs and Central Asia, VK has the situation. We have very good coverage in Kazakhstan because of Kazakhstan's operators that are very initiative driven, and they install their own servers. About 80% of prefixes in Kazakhstan are covered with CDNs, our CDNs, and 80% of users in Kazakhstan receive hot content through their CDNs. And here we see that it accounts for about 57 GB that gives during peak hours. That's a cumulative traffic. In Uzbekistan, we are only at 1 IX. SNS IX, and it has a very small number of users, and that's why it's a very low percentage. We tried to communicate with Uzbek Telecom about installing CDN there, but so far no result. Tajikistan also has only one operator, Tidmile, and there's no CDN in Kyrgyzstan. So this is it. Are there any questions? So you can sit down there. Why? No, I'm standing. I'm good. Okay, so you stand. So here we go. Here's the first question. Roman Sokolov and NTS. I've been asking this question for a long time. When are you going to activate PV6 on PVK? The VK. We plan to do it next year. PV6 will be launched eventually, hopefully next year. There is a number of technical problems with this, which we plan to tackle next year. And we're going to start launching V6 at all of our servers, including CDN. And yeah, yes, and I think so. At least now we put it in our plan for the next year, and our plan is slightly bigger than that. And but full transition to V6 internally, but internally it's a bit more complicated than just transferring upfront. Thank you very much. Bakram Nasijanov, get to T-Mobile Tajikistan. My question, do you plan to improve effectiveness of caching? Because according to our analysis, with regards to other caches such as Google and Facebook, your so the traffic, your traffic for cache traffic is lower, significantly lower. And the second question is, when do you plan to launch interface to monitor traffic? I didn't quite get the question. The interface to for CDN holders to monitor traffic so that they could monitor servers. To answer your first question first, effectiveness, CDN effectiveness depends on a number of, on several factors, specifically the work of the users in the region, to what extent they watch the same content. We are the platform for user content placement. People place their videos or upload their videos that may not be as popular. These are not movies. So this is streams are always a soccer game or that comes as one stream and one flow to CD and then distributed to hundreds of users or hundreds of thousands or thousands of users. That's clear. In contact and in odnoklasniki.ru, the statistics shows that there's a lot of personal video content. This is the content that users send in messages to each other. That accounts for a large percentage. Of course, we don't cache it. It's unique. It's needed only to communicate, for two users to communicate with each other. So if the region has this content that is watched by many people at the same time, it will work good. That's number one. Number two, we can increase the depth. For example, there are different algorithms for different servers services. And for example, if we just give you an example, we place, I won't give you exact numbers at the top of my head, of course, but if we believe that the content is in demand, if it was watched by 10 people, for example, we can reduce it. If it was watched by 3 people, or we just cache it completely, all the traffic completely, and then this traffic from the servers that we cache, at least video, photo streaming will be will be given from the cache, but the incoming traffic will become bigger, will increase, so we will require more storage to store of this. We all base on what the operator gives us. The operator gives us the servers with this volume of disks, and we select parameters for this of the stop to make sure that a cache works as effective as it can. And if you want to improve effectiveness of the cache, then you have to have technical contacts of our experts and engineers, and you can communicate with them, and they will tell you if you can increase the top one, what's needed, maybe expanding uplink, or maybe adding more disks to the server. So you can talk to them, and the engineers that work there, they very passionate about this, so they're very responsible about what they're doing, and they're always responsive. As for monitoring, this is the first time I hear such a request, and I know that this has not been planned, but I heard your question, I heard you, and we will discuss it. Tatiana, Net Kazakhstan, my question is about servers. What are the minimum requirements for servers, and who do we need to contact to install a server here? The minimal requirements, it all depend on the traffic volume. You write a letter, we evaluate the volume of traffic for ISN, your ASNs or your client's ISNs, and then we propose some sort of configuration. We have a document, VKASP caches that is sent out, and it contains typical standard configurations, and we're ready to consider any configuration that you may have and tell you whether it will fit or not fit. And the software that we install to a platform, it could actually be installed on any platform. It's not tied up to certain, so it really depends on the volume of traffic, and it affects to the network. But at least two servers that's the minimum, but then the bigger the cache, the more the data. Presentation will be uploaded, and one of the slides has contact information, vto@vk.team. That's our email. You can send them an inquiry, and this is the team that works with interacts with all communication with network operators. Yes, and you can indicate that you learned that information from Elena Yakupova at the Central Asian Peering and Interconnection Forum. Good afternoon. My name is Maksat. I'm representing Kazakhstan. I'm a private operator in Aktobe, Compass Telecom. My question is, if your cache and servers do you have cache and servers in Western Kazakhstan? If you do, in which cities? In Kazakhstan, we have caching servers only and network operators. We don't have a point where any operator could connect to. Usually when we go out to the region, we try to find an IX to make it easier for everyone. IX already aggregates operators within the region. They already pay for an exchange or use this free exchange, and we include our servers to that IX. But in Central Asia, we just couldn't find, and we worked on this about 5 years ago. We didn't find anybody here or anything like that here. That's why, and today, where cache and services are used as our Kazakh Telecom, KCell, and I don't remember who else had one or has one. So if you want to have cache, you would have to put it in your facility, your premises, or probably receive this traffic from Kazakh Telecom or Tele2. For example, Kazakh Telecom is available in pretty much all the cities. For example, in Aktobe, in the city of Aktobe, if they have it, well, but it's not in Aktobe, it's not the Kazakh Telecom cache. I think it's Tele2. If there is a large exchange point in Kazakhstan sometime in the future, and a lot has already been said about it, which would have all operators in Kazakhstan, then we most likely be considering installing a unified CDN point to make sure that all operators, both commercial and public, receive content, and the overall cache or total cache is more effective, or common cache is more effective, because with the given number of aggregate number of servers that all operators have, you can store more content because it's not duplicated at each server. I also have one question, even though I think I understood it, but still, just to clarify and repeat it to get it better. So servers are bought by the companies that install them, right? Correct? Yes, we using this principle, and for Russia, we sometimes provide servers for small platforms. We provide servers to our own platforms, where we provide high capacity servers, but for CIS countries, the practice is that operators install their own servers, even if it's an IX. Once we have a large IX here in this region, then we can consider it. Usually in previous years, it could cause some challenges with placing hardware here. It's not that we're not ready to provide our servers and provide our point. The problem is with placement. There was some legal issues with that. So once we overcome these issues, or these challenges don't exist anymore, then, well, rolling out a point in Kazakhstan with a high number of users, PK users, is not going to be a big deal. If there is a point that all operators go to, we can put CDN there and everyone can use it. But in case of IXP, most of them are not commercial, and it's problematic to buy servers, and they work very low margin, at a very low margin. Yeah, in case of IXP, that's our cache that we when we bring our servers, bring our own infrastructure. ISP is what operators install within their own network for their users. It also has its own benefits, because operators, for example, by doing this, they can offload some traffic within the country. They can put cache and services in different cities, and that's reducing the flow of traffic, the overall flow of traffic. Great. So we have Pavel Gusev with us. Could you please tell us something good? IXP? My name is Pavel Gusev. We had a small IXP in Seme. Currently, we have 3 operators. We're negotiating with the 4th one right now, and there's a big hope that he will also join us. And all these operators, you mentioned them, they also have your caches, and the main problem for us, and we would be happy to place your servers on our platform to provide traffic to our participants, to our users. The main problem for us is transit. Transit, we have to buy it using commercial prices from the operators, and that would be a big financial burden for us. Are there any ideas as to how we can combine these economies or get these economies of scale? Well, usually it's simpler within Russia rather than as opposed to CIS. But when we place our own point, we connect all of our top operators, large broadband such as Telecom, Megaphone, NTS. And since these operators, they connect us to their data center. They provide connectivity to our data centers to get this free traffic, and they receive, they're benefiting from it, because this percentage that they're saving, they're saving on the percentage of traffic that's given from cache or distributed from cache. That's the economy that we have. So if we talk about IX and placing through IXs, we connect to IXs and we connect to large operators, which are not using IXs usually. This is the case for Russia. Yes. Thank you. I got it. And then another proposal to you. Please keep in mind our platform. We have a room for placing hardware, and maybe in negotiations with your operators that already use your caches or CDNs. That would be some sort of a mutual beneficial solution to increase capacity, to increase the depth of cache. And we're ready. We're always open for cooperation. Thank you. Thank you very much. And for Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, still, the traffic is concentrated mainly in Kazakhstan, in Kazakh Telecom, and Uzbekistan, it's concentrated in Uzbek Telecom. So these are the largest networks. You know, Elena, my question is, you said that if it's IX and it involves a lot of operators, then you can put your own equipment there. Yes, we have to decide this upload issue, the uplink. Uh, is there any volume of traffic that this IX should have? Yes, if we put our own point, we evaluate how beneficial it is for us, because this equipment that would have to be delivered and maintained, we are maintaining this equipment, the hardware, not the operator maintains this hardware. That's why we conduct this assessment. I'm not going to give you the numbers off the top of my head, and we are ready to consider for every individual request and maybe come to some arrangements. So this model of CDN, like Google, Facebook, you're using. Yes, they also have a minimum requirement because it's transmitted. Well, they have, it's the servers, it's investments into some hardware apart from operating expenses and maintenance expenses. That's very interesting. Alec. Doesn't work. Take another one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This one works. Yes, my question is, I already contacted your colleagues, and so far everything's suspended. Can we take our equipment, our hardware, and uh, install your node and test the how beneficial it would be for both of us, so that initially, yes, you don't have to send your hardware and invest into your hardware, but we could actually run the test, do the dry run. Are you talking on behalf of IX? No, I'm talking on behalf of an operator. I'm talking as an operator right now, 2 operators right now. As far as the operators are concerned, we don't send any hardware to them. We had situations in Russia where we gave operators some servers, and now the situation is not very good in general, and most likely we're considering a situation where operators provide their own hardware. Putting on and testing is not a problem. We put it on, we test it, and we see it's not beneficial for you, although that could be assessed based on the statistics. So you take a look at the statistics of your ASNs. You take 30% of 30%, you're going to save 30% on external channels. Then of those 30, you can increase it from 30 to 50, but that can be tackled with by increasing the depths, but that's all about configuring it. Yeah, a lot of operators, Google's probably very famous, and you know that the next notice on one hand doesn't give this increase as the first one. However, gradually and gradually it still increases the percentage. Yes, you're right. The more nodes you have, the more your incoming traffic will grow. Just to sum up, I'm not just talking for myself, I'm talking for anybody, any large operator, and we can exchange contact information with you, take our own hardware, and using an image that your guys will provide us, we'll install it and see how it works in real life. Yes. Yes, you can do that. So we have guidelines and you can follow it, but then we maintain the servers. Yeah, monitoring everything. We track all that information. And so what are the users that should be cached? It's up to you. You look at GDB sessions and then we'll look at routes. It's just a standard procedure like everybody else does. Thank you very much. So I suggest we test it and localize it here. Thank you, Oleg. Do you have any studies, any visuals of who is using what and where? Our products, you mean? Yes, yes. Not per person, but for the region, for example, I looked at social media today in VK and Odnoklassniki, and I said that in Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, they have pretty much the same number of users that use this social media on a daily basis, and about 50-50, both Odnoklassniki and VK. Kazakhstan is very different with this regards in terms of the number of users. It's tenfold higher, and it's probably mostly VK. That's the resource that's used in Kazakhstan, not Odnoklassniki. I haven't looked other statistics for other platforms. That's very interesting. Okay, well, how about we agree that for the next time you give us some very pretty visual, if you may, because you're coming next time, right? For CAPIF? Yes, please. You have to promise, looking in the eyes of your friends and colleagues. Yeah, you're going to come back with a pretty picture. Yes. To show the servers and their popularity in each country. Exactly. Okay, good. That's the deal. Good. Great. Thank you. Yes, we have a question. One more question.
So do you have an effect, do you see an effect for installing cache and improving quality, the consumption of traffic grows too? Can it be possible that people do not use the resource because the quality is low? Well, yes, I actually think that when the cache is installed, the traffic should grow. I thought about this, but unfortunately, because cache are installed and then reinstalled, and unfortunately, there is no sort of the X hour where you can compare it with or without. But in Uzbekistan, if you install cache there, and Tajikistan was saying that they have expensive traffic cost, so that might allow the users to or clients to receive this heavy content, and traffic will grow too. Okay, so next time you don't have to bring beautiful picture, you just bring us statistics. That would be very, very interesting and important. Okay, if within 1 year we will install cache in Central Asia, I will try to ask them to see before and after picture. Now, Alex, Maxim. What do you mean, what? Did you have a question? No, no questions. Thank you very much. So